Welcome everybody to another episode of the Three Count. This is your boys, Benny, Jaquan, and myself.
Here, I
We
thought we
need
were
to
gonna yell the
clarify
New Day.
the recently turned heel and very pissed off Benny.
Oh my gosh! Like
Because some jackasses decided they wanted to pour paint on my wife yesterday.
Oh, if you don't know who that is, go watch SmackDown. That's all I'm gonna say. That way, make it much easier for everybody to try to figure out who that is.
Just say I got two black masses ready to go.
cocked and loaded, heavy.
So this is your NXT in your house preview right before they start off tonight on Saturday. Is it tonight? Or is it
No, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's a lot going on.
Mhm.
So this is your preview. We're going to talk about all the matches, a little bit in depth as well to what's going on behind the scenes with some of these matches, some of these wrestlers that we're hearing about. So let's kick it off with the 6-woman tag team match. We got Mia Yim, Shotzi Blackheart, and Tegan Knox versus Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez. Betty, what are your thoughts on this match?
My thoughts on this one are basically this match came out of absolutely nowhere. And generally, when something like that happens, you have the heels go over. And logic would speak highly to Candice LeRae being the one that actually takes the victory for her team. So that's pretty much what I'm going with. I don't know who's going to take the fall because I don't want to see Tegan Knox's extra pretty ass taking any type of pins whatsoever, ever. So I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be Candice LeRae going over on Mia Yim since those are the two that are technically beefing the most right now. But like I said, I'm going with the heels on this one.
Unfortunately, I agree. But I think it's gonna be Candice LeRae over Shotzi Blackheart because I mean this is her real introduction into, I guess, what you can consider the mid card of the women's division.
Mhm.
And she's the most green out of everyone. And if you're looking at, I guess, kind of the matchups within the match, that Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox are going to take each other out. You know that Candice LeRae and Mia Yim are probably going to end up in a brawl, and it's going to be some sort of like a dirty hit or something. So I think it's either going to be Candice LeRae getting a pin on Shotzi Blackheart, or it's going to be Raquel Gonzalez getting a pin, which I don't even think she has outside of jobbers at this point.
Well, I agree. I'm going with the heels on this one. The Faces has a nice team on them, but I just think in order to further the storyline for the 3 heels, they need to win. In order also to keep a couple of feuds going on with a couple of faces or start some new ones, the heels need to win. You can't have to win for just no apparent reason on the match that went together. So I think we're all in agreement that the heels are going to win. This should get some feud going on for the future for this division here in the NXT for the women's.
I think it's beyond the division. I think it has a lot to do with the mixed tag team element of Johnny Gargano and Keith Lee.
It has that, and also there are going to be some call-ups as well. So that's why I'm saying for the future. They're gonna a lot of the talent that's been under the radar is going to be elevated. So a lot of ones in the mid card are going to be pushed up into the upper card NXT, which is to see who is going to get that push now. Interesting thing, you know. So let's go on to the next one. It's another women's match. Let's get this one out the way. It's a triple threat. Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, and Io Shirai. Jay, what are your thoughts?
It's very much one of those heart and head situations. My head is telling me Charlotte because this is only like her second or third defense on a pay-per-view. I don't think they're done what they want to do with her in NXT, but there is also a part of me that's like, well, now that Becky Lynch is gone, it kind of clears the path, especially in the Raw division, because it is abysmal and laughable what's in the Raw division right now, and it makes sense for Charlotte just to step in and actually be a legitimate challenging for Asuka, but that also tells me that Asuka's not going to have the title for that long. So that is what that is. All that being said, I think I'm going to go with my heart and go with Io Shirai winning this match.
Benny?
Because damn it, Io deserves it. Io definitely.
Man, listen. If I could charge Jay with grand larceny, I would. I believe Io Shirai is in this match for one of two reasons. It is one, to either take the fall, or two, to take the title. One of the two. My thing about Rhea Ripley right now is the fact that they had her lose at WrestleMania knocked every single bit of shine off of her. To me, although, you know, I'll still flip a building over the moment I hear "This is my brutality." You got to build her back up to being the threat that she was when she was riding high going towards the end of last year. When she was feuding with Shayna Baszler, when she was getting pins on Charlotte Flair on on SmackDown, when she's winning the Survivor Series for her team. That Rhea Ripley right now is gone. And to me, Io has been tearing it up. Now, the other common thought process would be it's Charlotte Flair. All right. Charlotte wins, LOL. That's how, things go. Mm-hmm. The thing about it is, from what I last heard, they're now counting Charlotte's previous NXT championship among her title reigns, which means we're about to start pushing this Charlotte for 16 or Charlotte for 17 type thing. All right. So what she has to do, she has to lose some belts. And what Jay just said made a whole lot of sense. Your Raw Women's division is kind of hurting right now without Becky. So you kind of sort of need to bring, somebody in there to fill the void for the time being. And the only person that actually, comes in and with the momentum that Becky Lynch would have is Charlotte. So in my case, just like Jay, heart over head, because she deserves it, Io Shirai.
Here's what I'm looking at. So you have Charlotte winning, or
I got Io.
I got Io. Have Io.
You got Charlotte, right, Jay?
No, I have Io.
You have Io as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Here's why I don't think she's gonna win. Here's why I think Charlotte's gonna win.
Because she's Asian?
No. You have to look at contracts and call-ups. So Kairi Sane hasn't signed a new contract yet.
Mm-hmm.
She says she wants to go home, and Stardom said they want her back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one already gone. They already lost Becky for 9 months at least, no less than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can't give it a little, like 2 months. Put it a year. You know what I'm saying? Put it a year. They lost her for a year, and that's the minimum because we don't know what's going to happen. She might want to just stay home for a little longer. They lost Becky for a year. A heavy hitter right there.
Mm-hmm.
Losing Kairi Sane sometime at the end of this month. Her contract ends this month. Not sure what date, but ends this month. So that's 2 people gone from the Raw roster already. Then you got this issue with Ember Moon, who we're not sure when she's coming back or if she's actually going to retire completely. She was going to retire, her career was ended, but then she got some kind of change of heart. I forgot what happened. Somebody spoke to her and she changed her mind. She's going to fight.
Mark Henry.
Yeah. So Ember Moon's still out. We don't know when she's coming back at all.
Mm-hmm.
The Raw division is hurting right now, women's, for a lot of them. Charlotte needs to stay in NXT as the title holder for a little bit longer. I'm not sure who's taking the pin. Charlotte's going to retain. Both Rhea and Io are going to go called up to Raw.
Wow.
I can see where your logic is. I frankly don't agree because Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai, they're not enough. They're not enough for that division. They really aren't.
Agree with you.
There are a lot of women there that they can call up and they can build in a certain way. I think having Io still be there, because again, if you have Charlotte there, who are you building? you can't build with Charlotte as a title holder. You can't build anybody, especially if you take the last two people in the top tier of that division and you move them up. Who are you building with?
But see, here's the thing. I was gonna say, this is an issue because what Vince and WWE didn't realize is when they let Charlotte beat Rhea Ripley, they put themselves in the corner. It don't matter if they saw this coming or not, with the whole COVID and everything else going on. It don't matter. Having Charlotte winning the NXT title puts yourself in the corner because now you kill the momentum that Rio gained from you since Survivor Series, even just before that. What the momentum she had built on that, you just destroyed it. And that was great momentum as well. She was riding high. You could have had her facing Becky Lynch at Mania. And you could have had Shayna Baszler go off against Charlotte in a grudge match, which I think would have been excellent to watch. And even if Rhea Ripley lost, she's still a champion. And it's a great rub to lose to Becky Lynch. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. They put themselves in a tight corner because now you have Charlotte as a champion. You can't just have her lose to anybody in NXT.
That's the thing. It's not about having her lose. She doesn't technically have to lose.
Right.
That's why they have a triple threat match. And
Exactly.
even if Rhea does take the pin and you move Rhea up, you have built-in feuds already there for Rhea Ripley, especially because of Asuka. Especially because of the fact that you would have Charlotte going after the Raw Women's title, and Rhea still has the grudge against Charlotte. And Rhea can go after the Raw Women's Championship instead of the NXT Championship.
As much as I like Io, I do not see her as NXT champion. Not with the group.
She's a bridge champion at best.
Well, here's the thing.
Bridge champion.
Not with the group that's there to contend with her.
Who is she? Candice, automatically, that is the one feud that never really got finished.
Yeah,
it got scrapped, but it never got finished.
In order to finish it, you have to. They had to be where they were at, but you're not at that point because now Candice is a heel and you're flipping Io to a face. It just ruined the storyline because the storyline was Io was in trouble because Kyrie went up and then Candice came in and saved her, had her back, and then Candice betrayed her. Oh no, sorry, Io betrayed her. You know what I'm saying? But now Candice is a heel. And if you flip Io to a face, it's like I can't get behind that story. Because the way that story started, Io betrayed Candice.
Right. And I get what you're saying, but my whole thing is the motivations have changed. It's the same situation when you had Ciampa, who was a heel, naturally progressing to a face, and you had to turn Johnny heel. It didn't make any sense. And the thing is, nobody cared because they just wanted to see Tommy. They wanted to see Johnny versus Ciampa. Nobody cared. If it's for the title, then I don't think heel face needs to matter. Especially because at this point, this tag match is a prerequisite for a fatal 4-way, 6-woman elimination. Like, you can go any direction with this because, again, all the women in the first match are going to be what your main card is going to look like. Especially when you have Dakota Kai.
Right.
That's the thing. Charlotte's not a face either.
But here's the thing: if you go on the storyline of trying to start a feud with Io and Candice, where does it begin? Where do you begin that storyline feud? You have to go to
literally. You can start it as soon as Io wins the title.
Right. No. I mean, if you're trying to put like a story, like okay, this is why they're feuding. Where do you start it at? It has
Io's the champion.
No. We don't forget what happened. What happened? Io betrayed Candice.
Well, here's the other thing.
You get what I'm saying?
There's two ways you can go about this. First, because of the way Paul said he was thinking that they're both going to go up, Io and Rhea, afterwards. There's one thing that all of us kind of sort of forgot about. Bianca Belair is up on the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She just hasn't been seen.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, she's just in the ether somewhere. You just slot her back in where she belongs, into the mix. Don't even worry about her and the Street Profits being together. Just put her into the women's division where she belongs, and that can kind of iron itself out. And then you bring Charlotte up, and then you have enough quote-unquote star power to actually tide you over for a little while. The other thing, and this will kind of sort of segue into another match that we have later, which is going to, for me, segue into another match that we have after that. The other thing that we could do is you could sit up here and you could say for instance, I don't know, her husband has now he has a championship over his shoulder now.
Mm-hmm.
I want one too. We're just going to be
very
tripping in
possible.
gold.
It's
Yeah.
very possible.
You know,
We're just going to be tripping in gold. You're in my way, and I want that title.
I mean, you can have it where Charlotte retains this one, which thus pushes Rhea and Io up, and then you can have another triple threat later on where Charlotte and Candice and whoever else you want to put in there are in there. Candice wins it without Charlotte even having taken the pin, and you put Charlotte back up the main card.
It's not believable.
I need that belt off Charlotte. That's all.
That's what I'm saying. It's not
I never wanted it
believable.
on her as it is.
I know.
It's not believable. Like, it to me, this is the most believable scenario you could possibly get to, because you have the person that has already pinned her. Yes, Rhea has lost, but she does have, I think, 1 or 2 pins on Charlotte.
I think she pinned her in Survivor Series, I think.
I believe she pinned her on SmackDown too.
That's what I'm saying. She has at least 2 pins on Charlotte.
Yeah.
So you have that imminent threat, like this has already went down, and that distracts her from Io, and Io can take advantage of, like, if the storyline is too good for Charlotte to lose without actually having to lose, and she can just be like, all right, I've had my fun here, I'm moving on. For her to continue her reign, that means you have to rebuild a feud of her and whomever you want to anoint as the next challenger. And then that means she's going to have to beat another 4 or 5 people to build up one person. And it's like, it's going to destroy your division if Charlotte keeps this title any longer. It's going to absolutely mutilate and take out from the knees your division. It doesn't make sense.
Damn, Jay.
I'm so serious. Like, that's the thing with Charlotte, is either she's your top person or she's not. And if she's your top person, there's no one else that can be in her stratosphere. And that's the problem.
And the problem is, this is the thing too. Okay, Shayna, when Shayna had it, she was indominant. She was dominated. She was dominant. Nobody could beat her. Whatever. Boom. Got it. The problem here, though, it's with Charlotte, it's that and 10 times that, because she's Charlotte Flair.
Exactly.
Well, sorry. Let me interject on that one real quick, though. The thing about Shayna Baszler is Shayna always had an air of just being a badass, but the thing is, she never felt invulnerable.
Right.
Shayna always had backup. She always had the rest of the horsewomen.
Right.
So if it started to look like, okay, Shayna's starting to take a little too much, then you start seeing Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir, they're coming out, they're starting to interfere and stuff like that, and then she could pick up a cheap one. The problem with Charlotte is John Cena plus the Terminator plus Superman plus Hulk Hogan plus whatever the hell. What?
Supergirl.
No, Superman.
Blonde hair, bro. Supergirl. Power Girl, whatever her name is.
Plus Hulk Hogan, plus whatever creator wrestler you make on WWE 2K with all of the stats put all the way up, and then the difficulty put on easy, and then you turn the second control on. That's what you get when Charlotte's in the ring, and I can't stand that nonsense, because she'll go out there and she'll complain about how people complain about her, saying, "Oh, I lost over 100 matches last year." Sweet. I didn't know we were counting house shows, but that's all right. She needs to lose that title. She needs to lose that title, and she needs to be knocked down a peg, like how John Cena has knocked himself down recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's the truth, and that's the unfortunate side effect of her being pushed to the moon instead of the 4 horsewomen being equally elevated. That's the unfortunate consequence of her being pushed to the moon. Because at the end of the day, it's like, listen, I get why you brought her down to NXT, because you needed to give her a breather for the Raw and SmackDown women's division, or else she wouldn't be doing anything. And she's like, well, I'm not winning. I'm not fighting for championships and blah, 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 that whole thing. You gave her a championship. You elevated the women's division, or you, at this point, you kept it afloat. You didn't really elevate it.
Exactly.
So you did, like, it's like the thing with it's like when Johnny won the North American title the first time. You did what you needed to do, but you don't have to hold this title for long. It's not necessary. And the longer you hold it, the worse, the more you hurt the division. Like she's literally a cancer to this NXT women's division. And it's no detriment of her own. It's just who you are and what you stand for. You can't take losses.
Right.
Especially against these women. You can't take, like, you can take losses to the women that were already elevated, but all of them are gone.
Mm-hmm.
So what else is there for her to do?
That's what I'm saying.
What else is there for her to do?
There's
no reason for her to be there.
That's what I'm saying. The only way around this, where the three of them get called up, is if she retains, and then later on, Candice LeRae wins the title. Right.
No.
Because
that is literally the worst case scenario.
This is why you still have to build that women's division for after her. You can't build it still there.
The only way to build it is to have a new face of it.
I got your finish right here. Charlotte hits Rhea Ripley with natural selection, goes for the pin. Io Shirai with her beautiful moonsault lands on both of them. Charlotte flies out of the ring in the process, and Io gets her pin. Everybody's happy because Charlotte doesn't get pinned.
Yeah,
exactly. And then
she loses her title,
and literally.
And then she's back up. She's back on Raw, back in the mix for that, and she's just like, I never got
right after
I lost my title, and now I'm taking it out on whoever else is available.
She could even go on a tirade like after she loses, and say this is bullshit. I'm done with this. I'm going back to Raw or whatever. She could announce it right then and there.
Easy.
Yeah.
Or she didn't have to. She didn't have to. She could just show up on Raw and be like, without the belt, like, I'm done with NXT. I'm back here. NXT was crap. They stole my belt away from me on this whatever she wants to say. But she announces she's going back either way or the other. She could do it that way.
And that's the thing. She cuts a promo with Asuka in the ring, and Asuka's like, okay, cool, we're about to do this. Boom, this is my brutality. That's a call up. And then Bianca Belair comes right up after that, and your next pay-per-view, there's a fatal four-way. Easy. You book it, stamp it, and build from there. That's it. Like, it's not rocket science. Charlotte retains. What do you do the next night on NXT?
It might not be for us, but for Vince it is.
Again, this isn't Vince booking. This is Triple H. You forget. This is Triple H booking.
No, I'm talking
Vince wants star power. I'm giving you your golden goose.
I'm talking about Raw when you said a fatal four-way between Asuka, Charlotte, but that's what I'm saying. You said it's not rocket science. I'm like,
again,
Vince, it is.
Think about the climate of everything right now. Think about the climate right now. What do you need? You need diversity, right? To not look like a racist. You would have an Asian, an African American, an Australian, and then your pretty little white girl. And at that point, you can have somebody else take the pin because no one's going to complain that Charlotte then wins the title. Because at that point, if the women's division complains, that means you have nothing but challengers going after Charlotte to actually legitimize her last reign. And what is this going to be, 17? This is going to be the one
right now, like I said, she's at 12 right now.
She's at 12. So again, she has to go and she has to lose.
She has to start losing the belt.
And
she
again,
has to start losing the belt.
There are plenty of women that you can play hot potato with the women's title with right now. Like, we just saw one champion for a year with Becky Lynch, right? People are not going to complain that Asuka comes in and loses the title if Asuka never gets pinned.
What I'm going to tell you right now, I'll complain about is if she loses the title at the next pay-per-view, but thankfully, that's just her and Nia.
Yeah. So it's like, again, you have at least a pay-per-view in between to do whatever it is you're going to do. And again, now you have it where you have Bianca Belair, you have Nia Jax, you have Asuka. Now you start to rebuild that division where you're like, okay, this division is pretty legit. All right, cool. And you don't have to do what SmackDown's doing where you have all the titles on Bayley. You have no legitimate challengers for the women's division. And at this point, the most entertaining part is the fact that they're going to place the Iconics again. You don't want to get stuck in that hole. If you keep the title on Charlotte right now and you wait, because we don't even know when the next NXT pay-per-view is. We don't know. This one came out the clear blue. We don't know. So that means you got to put it on Charlotte for another, 3 months? And she's stuck in NXT doing what for 3 months? She's done little to nothing now with the title. She's done close to nothing. She had a really good match with Mia Yim. That's all she has to say for her time in NXT. Why are you keeping the title on her? It makes no sense. And at least at this point, Charlotte Flair winning the Raw Women's title at least opens up the remote possibility that Mia Yim doesn't even have to fight for the NXT Women's Championship and can just show up on Raw.
So the next NXT event is the one that's supposed to be before SummerSlam, which is in Boston.
Which is going to happen in September?
Yeah.
If that. We don't even know right now.
Who knows?
We in June.
Who knows?
You gonna let Charlotte hold it for another 4, or you gonna have her lose it on NXT TV? Come on now, because they're gonna have a hyped up NXT TV show.
So here's the thing:
in between that to act as a secondary pay-per-view.
From what they're saying is, if they can't get the crowd coming in for SummerSlam in Boston, they're gonna try and either push it back so they can leave it there, or they're gonna move out of there to try and have it in September. So if it can't happen in August, they're pushing it to September, which is.
Listen, you see the way Boston is right now? Boston and New York have a similar mindset.
Wait, here's the thing. SummerSlam is until the 23rd of August, which pretty much basically is the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So they could push it back to September, and they can put it the second week of September. So it's not that difference.
Again, that also puts you in a bind with Charlotte, because now you have too much time to build a story. And you're going to overtell it, because now you're going to overly drag it out. You're going to over pull off matches. For what? For her to lose it on NXT TV? That makes no sense.
Well, there have been
zero sense.
There have been title changes on NXT TV.
But that's my point. Why that to me, that just cheapens the pay-per-view. Why have the pay-per-view then? Why bring back a classic name if you're not going to have a bookend win?
But see, here's the thing, though. You want to have you don't want the belt to be swapped on TV too much, but it helps to have it once in a while because that makes the people want to watch the show. If I know the title's never going to change on TV and it's a title match, I'll watch it, but not wholeheartedly because I know it's not going to change hands on TV. It's like saying you're watching and you know the outcome already.
The last time it happened was when Rhea Ripley won the title for the first time.
I don't think they're going to do that again.
Again, the only reason why they did it is because she was coming off so hot from Survivor Series.
Here's the thing I think of, though. Ratings with AEW aren't like they're going. If you get wind out that Charlotte's going to drop the belt on live TV on NXT, you don't think that ratings are going to go up? At least a little bit.
To who? Who is she dropping it to?
It don't matter.
Who is she dropping? Yes, it does. It very much matters.
Well, okay. Let's say this. Let's say for the fact that she drops it, does that not pique your interest?
No, I don't care
at all.
I really no, because if she doesn't do it, because again, if you're gonna do it for if you're gonna make Charlotte lose a title, it has to be big. And for it to be on a regular TV thing, I was like, oh no, they just ran out of story for Charlotte, so now they want to pull her up. I don't care. I'd rather watch AEW. At least their women's division is semi-interesting. That's my point. It's like if you're gonna bring back In Your House and you're gonna do all of these things to bring it back, give me a reason to remember it. Don't give me Charlotte again. That's the last 5 years at a pay-per-view. It's the same. You can line up 6 images of Charlotte, and I can't tell you when she won it. Couldn't tell you. Because it's the same pose, the same crap all the time. Now, if Io Shirai, who literally went from being the hottest thing to no one giving a crap to turning heel, and now she may be like she's starting to flatline. Let's keep it real. She's been hot, but she's starting to flatline. She needs something that's going to be like, okay, this woman is legit. And her record in Stardom is not going to do it for the American audience. It's just not. It's not. And if you're going to tell me that we have to reshape the roster, we got to do all this other stuff, then commit to your talent. Don't give me the same old BS and say, oh, we're going to build a division around Charlotte. who's only out here chasing championships. That's like me saying we're gonna build a division around a 38-year-old LeBron because he needs to win one more championship to catch Jordan.
But here's the thing you have to remember too, though. Hunter has no control over who Vince wants to call up. So if Vince says I'm calling Io and I'm calling Rhea, what's he gonna do? He can try and fight it by saying
again. All he's gonna say is, "Well, you can't call up Io because Io's gonna be my champion," and that's my point.
But here's the thing,
Rhea, he can call up.
He can say that, but Vince is like, I don't care. I want Io and I want Rhea. Hunter can try. He's fought before to keep wrestlers down in NXT, but you can only fight the fight for so long, and you have to pick and choose your fights. I think I heard it that Vince wanted to call Velvet Dream up earlier, but Hunter said no because he wasn't ready or some other stuff. He kept him down.
Which he wasn't.
Yeah, which was fine. I agree with that. And like I said, he has to pick and choose his battles. He can't block every call up. That's what I'm saying. I think Io and Ripley are going because Vince wants people. He wants more talent, women's talent up there. And he has to pick and choose who he lets go. If he says no to Io, who's he gonna want? Somebody else that's literally not ready?
Take Charlotte back.
That's what I'm saying. You're gonna take Charlotte back anyway.
But the way Vince is looking at it, he wants Charlotte down there for the ratings for the NXT Women's Division.
She ain't helping them damn ratings.
Ain't no worried about the ratings for the Women's Division.
This is Vince we're talking about. This is Vince, who's so out of touch with the people. He swears that he knows what's right for the company, what's right for everything, but he doesn't. That's why I said he painted the NXT Women's Division in a corner by putting the belt on her when it was unnecessary.
And they're gonna make it worse by keeping it on her.
He has the perfect opportunity to paint himself right out of that corner by taking that belt right off of her and putting her back where she belongs.
I'm not doubting that, but I just don't think he's gonna do it. I think he'd rather call up Rio and Io and keep the belt on Charlotte.
And do what? And keep Io eating donuts at catering? That's what he's gonna do.
I'm not using her. Bianca's
gonna put her in a tag team with Asuka.
Bianca Belair's sitting back there and just sitting there because she should have been competing back there for a while. When they called her up,
it's a built-in storyline.
It was
another built-in storyline. If you bring up Rhea and Charlotte, it makes sense because Bianca is sitting right there.
I'm not doubting you. I'm not questioning you. I'm trying to tell you is we're talking about Vincent K. McMahon, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. That man will do things that will pull your hair out, and you'll be like,
"That's word to everything, bro." That's one of those decisions that'll make me cancel my network because it's like, what's the point?
And this is what I'm telling you.
That's one of those decisions where I'm looking at it like, bro, like
I'm trying to prepare you for this.
That doesn't make it just doesn't make sense.
Listen, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, like I tell Joe all the time, stop speaking bad shit into existence.
Because I'm telling you, if it happens, I'm blaming you, bro. It's worth everything I love because, like,
bro, the rumors are out there.
It's so stupid. It's smart.
No, the rumors.
I heard no rumors about Io whatsoever. I've heard nothing about Io. Charlotte, Rhea, okay. I've heard murmurs about that. I've heard squat about Io.
All of the rumors that I've heard have been on the men's side. I haven't heard any rumors about the women's.
No, I heard the last one I heard on Wrestle Talk was they were talking about Adam Cole, which was something I was going to talk about later. But Adam Cole,
that's a whole.
It was Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream. That depending on that outcome is what you'll see what's going to happen afterwards. Then they're talking about Rhea and Io getting called up as well. That's why you're not seeing some of these posters. They're getting put away. They're taken off or barely even mentioned.
They need to give Io her due before anything.
Trust me, they do. They should have.
At this point, I'm waiting for Charlotte to tear her ACL, and I don't even care no more.
They should have given her before all this.
I'm not wishing that on her.
She could do
I'm not wishing that on her. I would rather her just take some pins. Like I said, get knocked off of that person.
If you're gonna do it, I'm at the point now where Andrade needs to get the getting. Andrade needs to pull a Seth Rollins. Get out of here for 9 months.
The thing with
care no more.
The thing with him is his English.
No, I don't care about his wrestling. I'm talking about he needs to pull a Seth Rollins and get Charlotte knocked up so she can get out of here for 9 months. Yeah, I said it. I don't care.
Oh shit!
Because I'm so sick of this merry-go-round crap. Like, she can sit up here and complain all she wants to. You have literally the most reigns of any woman in your division by a landslide. Shut up. Go manage Andrade then, since he can't speak English anyway. Like, you and Selena Vega could be a tag team. Go win the tag titles. We don't need, like, come on, dog. Like, this is getting ridiculous now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, you want Io. What are you gonna do? Put her in a tag team with you're gonna just replace
you're gonna go replace Kyrie with Io.
With
That's
Io.
it.
For what?
Because she's Asian.
So you can, because, and again, to make you look like an even bigger a racist. Like, why do you think people are marching now? Like, you look dumb.
It's
like,
xenophobic nature. That's how it works.
I'm saying, listen, can we pull a Bailey and just cut Charlotte's hair like an old school, like, Kurt Angle style match where she just gets her head shaved? Like, that'll be entertaining for me. Because this is ridiculous. Like, this is just stupid now.
Only if she comes out with the wig and the wrestling gear with the head thing like Angle used to do.
Listen, man, like, this is oh my gosh, this is irritating. And it's like, oh, I'm Charlotte Flair. So what? Like,
let's
bro.
pull it back in.
Just a quick thing before we move on.
This is why I despise Charlotte Flair, because this is how she gets me. Like, this is why dealing with storylines when it comes to her is so irritating, because it's not that she's bad. It's not that I hate her character. It's the fact that they spoon feed her everything, and it literally she destroys divisions. She eviscerates divisions, and it's so dumb. And like, it's so stupid. Like,
there's no need
if she don't drop that title, bro, like, the NXT women's division is shot. Like, I'd quit if I was the rest of the women. Like, yo, I'm going to AEW, bro. Like, 'cause this is dumb. And just let Charlotte put on a match with a broomstick like Kenny Omega, because that's all I care about.
Real quick before we move on to the next thing, we were talking about the SummerSlam thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had to remind myself, because we're in Boston, we know the NBA is getting ready to start up. That might cause a bit of an issue when it comes to location, because Boston may still be in contention for the playoffs at that point. Right now, we're looking at
everything in Orlando.
No, all NBA games in Orlando.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
Yeah.
That would be funny though.
Yeah. So that was the reason why I knew this match was sparking a nice conversation. I want to get it out of the way early. Now let's continue with the card. Next on this list,
put the NBA playoffs in the Performance Center.
Yeah, right. Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I like this matchup. I like the style.
Tough.
I know. I like the styles. I like what's going on. Man, I want to say Damian Priest is going to take this one. The reason being, he needs this more than Finn, in my eyes. He needs this one more than Finn. You know? So I think Damian will take this one, and he'll get a nice little push as well. What are your thoughts, Jay?
Here's why I disagree. We just had a conversation about call-ups and massive call-ups in the mid-card division, very premature call-ups. I think Damian Priest is the art, like, he's the perfect type of character and the perfect type of person that Vince can screw up. And I think Vince will look at him the way he did with Baron Corbin and want a second shot at that. And the thing is, he's already given up on Finn Balor. So what's the point of Finn Balor going back up? He's given up on Finn Balor. Finn Balor's had a resurgence, but he's given up on Finn Balor. He doesn't want to touch Finn Balor with a 10-foot pole, it seems. So I think Damian Priest is more likely to get called up and get a push on the main roster than he is on the NXT roster at the moment. Especially with Killian Cross or whatever cross you want to throw out there. Him and Damian Priest's character are eerily similar, but Damian Priest has the added benefit of quote-unquote being a playboy. But I think that Cross needs a good feud to establish himself before they call him up, because I think they're going to call him up in much the way they did EC3. And I think in order to do that, you have to remove Damian Priest from the equation. So that's why I think Finn Balor is going to win.
So, when it comes to this match, remember before we started up and I was saying, like, there were a number of matches that I was a little unsure on?
Mm-hmm.
Not a little, but very, very unsure on. This is the first of them. Because however this match goes can actually determine how two other matches are going to end. Not because this match has a direct effect on it. It's just a matter of where do we go from here. All right. Now, logic would say Damian Priest has recently turned heel. So he should be the one. He should be the one to take the win. Here's the thing. If Damian Priest doesn't win this match, you can kind of sort of write him off as being a jobber for the rest of his career. Because every match that he's gotten into, every feud he's gotten into, everything, he's lost. Now, the thing about Balor can go two ways after this if he wins. Before all of this COVID mess started up, they were looking to build a Balor versus Walter match. Now, whether that was for the UK title or whether it was just the two of them fighting, I don't know. But then they were trying to build that. The other thing is, where do we go with the NXT championship if you don't have Cole drop it? Your first ready-made contender would be Balor. The other name that would come into play would be Keith Lee, but Keith Lee is still North American champion. So that kind of sort of throws a wrench into it. So I'm sitting up here and I'm thinking, like, this is why this is one of those really, really hard to call, situations. I'm honestly going to say Balor just because of the fact that I believe that I believe you're going to have an Elias type situation when it comes to, Damian Priest. Whereas he can't get his footing down in NXT, but they're going to move him to the main roster and he's going to find himself up there. Not in the same, context. Whereas, Elias, the only thing he does is sing. You're not going to have Damian Priest out there singing the entire time. But I believe he would be better as that type of mid-card, big dude that kicks the shit out of people every once in a while. He could do that on the main roster. Whereas, down in NXT, he's not, and I keep making that mistake. It's not down in NXT. Over in NXT, he's kind of sort of lost in the shuffle right now. I believe you have more to gain by Balor winning because you have different directions that you could go with marquee matchups with him versus Damian Priest winning. So I'm going with Balor there.
Here's my thing, though, is I agree, but I disagree with the results. I agree with your logic, but the results that I chose is based on that logic, but skewed differently. Because here's the thing. The big rumor that I heard is Dijakovic going up.
He is going up.
He is going up.
Dijakovic's getting moved. At that point, the mid card is so bare that there is no real contender for Keith Lee. And I agree with you that Keith Lee definitely should be the next challenger for the NXT title. But I think in order for Keith Lee to leave the mid card and do those things, you have to have him get beat by someone who's at least semi-legitimate. And that's why
moves on to my prediction for the next one.
Right. But that's why I think that Damian Priest would win, because it would put him right immediately into a feud, which he kind of already had previously with Keith Lee. It was just indirectly because it was like this round robin kind of, he doesn't like this person, but then he gets thrown into this feud because this person doesn't like that. Like they had that weird kind of those cross feuds. So like indirectly he's had contact with Keith Lee, but he needs a marquee win and be like, hey, now I'm ready to be a contender. And I think Finn Balor is that marquee win. But Paul, proceed. I just had to get that out before I forgot it.
No worries. Talk about Keith Lee. Let's go into that one. The North American title. Keith Lee versus Johnny Gargano.
You ain't give your prediction on the other one.
I
Here's
did.
the first one.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention.
Damn.
I guess I'm the only one going for Damian Priest. Okay.
Golly. You still mad at me about the
I'm hungry, okay? I'm hungry. That's my issue. I space out when I'm hungry. I apologize. I'm hungry.
Gotcha. North American title, Keith Lee versus Johnny Gargano. Benny, what are your thoughts?
Okay. It gets even worse here.
Oh, Lord.
All right? It gets even worse here. If you're going to do... It's funny because this is how this mess is actually going to... This shaping out in my mind. All right? The winner of the NXT Championship match should determine who wins this match. If that makes any sense at all. Reason being, what I'm saying is, if Adam Cole retains and Velveteen Dream can, quote unquote, no longer challenge for the championship. Granted, I was talking Balor earlier. The other person to challenge for the championship will be Keith Lee. Right? He's probably, as far as faces go, the most over person on the NXT roster. Now, if Velveteen Dream wins the championship and say Adam Cole gets called up, which is the other rumor, or Adam Cole hadn't signed his extension, like, there's conflicting reports going on with that, and he ends up going, I don't know, AEW with his wife or his girlfriend. Who's the next challenger for the NXT Championship going to be then? I don't know. Maybe a heel Johnny Gargano. I mean, there's so many different ways this thing can go. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to I'm going to use a bit of a scapegoat type thing, and I think Gargano is going to win, but I don't think he's winning the championship. He's going to win by DQ. Like I said, like I don't see them actually beating Keith Lee, like beating Keith Lee, but because of the fact, like I said, you have to justify the heel turn. All right. Granted, you had him go over on Ciampa, but if he goes and he loses the very next feud that he's in, then what was the point? So give him a cheap win. Don't give him the championship. Give him a cheap win. He could go out there and be like, yeah, I still beat your champion or whatever. I should be the champion because I still beat him and all this other stuff. You know how typical heel bullshit that they do. Give Johnny Gargano that cheap win. You can build towards the next pay-per-view. And if that's the case, you either you have Johnny Gargano drop, or lay down for Keith Lee after that, or you can drop the title to him and move Keith Lee on. Because honestly, by the end of this year, I want to see Keith Lee with the NXT Championship.
Right.
All right, so like I said, I'm taking Gargano on that one, albeit by DQ.
Jay?
You brought up a very interesting point, but my brain works differently. Here's my thing. Johnny Gargano winning makes sense. Johnny Gargano winning by DQ makes even more sense because you can forward two feuds at one time. Because if Johnny Gargano wins by DQ via, either interference from Candice somehow, and then Candice and Mia Yim get into it, that forwards that feud. And it turns it almost into like a mixed match challenge situation. And when I had Damian Priest winning earlier, I think him injecting himself into that makes sense from a title perspective, because then now you have Johnny take the pin, right? With Finn Balor losing, I feel like Finn Balor attacking Velveteen Dream or Adam Cole after that match is so Finn Balor that it's like, regardless to if he loses, Finn Balor knows how to put himself back on the map. So I'm not worried about Finn losing. That's what I mean. Finn can take a loss and it doesn't matter because Finn's still gonna be there one way or another. That's how I look at that. So I do think Keith Lee wins, but I do think some shenanigans go on where Johnny Gargano has somewhat of a gripe to keep going after Keith Lee, but he kind of toddles between two feuds where he makes himself known in the NXT title scene, but he also very much still has a feud with Keith Lee. And then Keith Lee kind of resurfaces as like the WCW US title situation where he's there and he may be in the mix for that top card, but he's not quite there yet because he still has the NXT North American title, if that makes sense. So that's what I see happening.
What you got, Paul?
Plus, I just don't want Keith Lee to lose. That's my personal. I just don't want Keith Lee to lose. Like, I hate the idea of having him lose, especially to Johnny, because it's like,
yeah,
if he's gonna lose, make his loss like him losing to Dijakovic always made sense to me because Dijakovic needed like that stamp. With Dijakovic moving on, Keith Lee's hype, like you got to give somebody else to rub off of that. Like, you got to give somebody the rub.
This is why I'm saying Damian Priest needed the win. Damian Priest could then chase after Keith Lee in a build-up. He gets built up and chase Keith Lee. And you can actually look at Damian Priest probably defeating Keith Lee, get the belt off of him, and then chase off of the main title.
That's how I'm looking at it.
Here's my one problem with that.
That one. Because like I was saying, Finn can take the L. He can take the L.
That's how I'm looking at it.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I picked Priest over him. Finn can take the L. You can build Priest. You can then build Priest to take the belt off of Keith Lee. Then you get the rub for Priest. Then you open up Keith to go after the main belt. That's why I was going off of that.
Here's my one problem with Damian Priest being the one that actually would dethrone Keith Lee in the long run. To me, Damian Priest is still beneath Keith Lee.
Right.
As far as star power, as far as wrestling ability, as far as everything. Right?
Okay.
In a situation with, like, in my case, Johnny Gargano, if Gargano takes the title off of Keith Lee, to me, that takes zero shine off of Keith Lee. Because Gargano is like your typical asshole heel right now. He's, to me, not quite Sami Zayn, but he can get there.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas you have the Candice distraction, you have any underhanded shit that Johnny Gargano has that can do. You already have the size discrepancy between the two of them. Whereas Damian Priest would be more likely to just flat out beat Keith Lee. You can do some underhanded, dusty finish with Gargano and not take too much shine off of Keith Lee and then put him into the NXT championship, picture.
Right. There's also the outline possibility that Damian Priest could attack Keith Lee mid-match, and that could be the DQ right there.
Yeah, that too.
There's also the run-in possibility, which I think is very culpable. There could be you could have the Finn Balor run-in happen there, even though I don't see Finn Balor feuding for mid-card title. I think it's dumb. I don't see it.
Yeah.
But see, this was my issue them calling. This is my issue with them calling up Matt Riddle. That was my issue.
Yeah.
Because Matt Riddle, to me, would have been the obvious guy to take the belt off. What's his face? Keith Lee. But with Matt Riddle getting called up,
Yeah, and you can,
and I can't look at Finn Balor with the Walter thing because, again, we have to open up borders for that to happen. And until we open up borders, you can't really explore that.
And the thing with Matt Riddle, the people might say, well, it's face and face. Well, you can have a face and face match, make it friendly, and he'll still lose clean.
Keith Lee and Dijakovic was face.
Yeah. And it'd be no problem.
Listen, let me book this for you real quick. Because I literally, when Jaquan said that Damian Priest could come in and interfere, that literally just gave it to me right there. All right. Let's say, now, mind you, this isn't me changing my pick. I'm still saying Balor beats Damian Priest. But say Balor loses. Damian Priest wins. Now he's getting ready to move on to his next feud or whatever. You don't know what it is. He goes, he interferes in that match, causes the DQ. All right. Doesn't matter who he attacks or whatever. Let's just say, for argument's sake or continuity's sake, he attacks Keith Lee. All right. I want the North American Championship. Johnny Gargano's like, you messed up my match. Now we have a triple threat match. You can knock the title off of Keith Lee without beating Keith Lee.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying this whole time. That's literally what I was just saying. And it makes sense because that match you can have on an NXT TV situation. That's an NXT TV match. Right?
Hell, if you really want to actually push Damian Priest, you don't have to put it on TV. Put it on a takeover.
You're not going to have a takeover until SummerSlam. That's my issue with the takeover. Unless they're going to book another takeover before SummerSlam.
Wait.
You can do pretty much whatever you want.
Time out. So it's okay for Keith Lee to lose the North American title on TV, but not for Charlotte to lose the women's title.
Well, Keith Lee ain't Charlotte.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Explain yourself, young man.
Charlotte's been on the main roster for 10 years? They built an entire division around Charlotte and the Four Horsewomen. Charlotte has the last name of Flair. Charlotte has this immovable object. Like, she has this supernova booking. If you cheapen her by doing it on TV and you just kind of make her go quietly into the night, what does that say about your women's division?
They did it.
You're not building a division around Keith Lee.
Don't forget, Sasha Banks lost her belt on Raw.
Well, here's the problem with that right there. That was about 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
Back then, I would have said, fine, you could do it, because you had Charlotte losing the title on Raw a couple of times then, when they were doing the whole Charlotte's undefeated on pay-per-view bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, if you're good, Jay brought it up as a good point. If you're gonna have Charlotte lose, you have to have Charlotte lose something that is in a position where, you know, it's high stakes. All right, Raw, NXT, SmackDown, those aren't high stakes. That's your everyday thing. Mm-hmm. All right, your pay-per-view, that's where she has to take her biggest L's. If you have her lose during the week and you want her to remain Charlotte Flair, she has to lose, like, bullshit-wise. Like, she has to lose by DQ. She has to lose by, you know, or no contest and crap like that.
Right.
Whereas the whole match gets blown up for some reason.
Well, here's the
I don't know, maybe by faction led by Liv Morgan. I'm just saying.
You still trying to push that, bro?
She'll be Charlotte Flair no matter what. If she loses on TV or pay-per-view, you know, she's still gonna hold the Charlotte Flair thing. It's Charlotte Flair. She's still gonna hold it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, you use it on TV, you're doing that smack dab in the middle of a bunch of, like, you're not putting a beginning to end to hers. You're making her lose in the middle of no man's land. Like, it doesn't continuity wise, it just doesn't make any sense. It really just doesn't make sense.
I would say the other part to that is the fact that you don't have any fans right now. All you have are your NXT people that are in the audience. Her losing, like, if she was to lose on, like, regular TV, the impact would be a lot more if you actually have fans in attendance.
And that's the biggest thing. It's a fan, and you have to look at it is if you're booking this super return for Charlotte, you're gonna do it halfway to SummerSlam instead of starting it like, okay, this is SummerSlam season because Charlotte's back. Like, this is the hunt now because Charlotte's back. Okay, we got Charlotte, we got Rhea, we got Bianca Belair, we got Asuka, and we got Nia Jax. Like, okay, now we got some hitters. Like, okay, now we're going to build this all the way to, regardless if SummerSlam's in August or if SummerSlam's in September. So you have a round robin of people that you can mix and match and throw in different places.
So here's this one. Here's how does this sound? Going back to how I said, she loses the title at NXT TakeOver, which is the night before SummerSlam. She gets fed up because she feels she lost it in a cheap way. She goes in on SummerSlam and announces her presence depending on which show she's going to be on, depending which title is being, like, if it's the Raw Women's title or the SmackDown. She's like, I'm chasing you because I was robbed of mine, so I'm after you now. So she makes a presence known as SummerSlam and interferes on a title match.
That's
The
stupid
only way-
because now you have to keep the title on her for another 4 months.
The only way I would accept that is if Charlotte cheated to win the match tomorrow. So
Fair.
if
But
she
then again,
steals
now
a
you
win
have
from somebody,
4 months to do
you
what?
do, but at the same time, now you don't cripple your division at the same time.
That's
If
fair
Charlotte-
because it shows Charlotte has a weakness. Like
She has a
chink
week.
in the armor.
The reason why I say this, Jay, is because she won the title win at WrestleMania, right?
Right?
Yeah,
How many times has she defended the title so far?
Like
twice.
6. Oh, well, it feels like it's longer than that.
Okay, twice. Since WrestleMania, this is the first pay-per-view, right, for NXT?
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. Yeah.
So this is the first title defense on pay-per-view. She's defended it twice before this. She needs at least a little bit longer because if not, this title reign will not carry as much weight as the original title run that she had with NXT.
I don't think it needs to
It
because
doesn't
honestly,
matter.
right now, what we're looking at with her is
doesn't
numbers.
matter.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing. And that's the thing.
I think all we're looking for with her is numbers right now. Because if you look at her championship reign prior to this one, her championship reign was about 7 minutes.
Yeah. Well, see,
Because
here's
she
the thing.
won the title from Becky, and then Bailey cashed in on her when she decided to headbutt turnbuckle.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one. Shit.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. Right
Like,
now, I
her having-
believe you were
her
just
having
talking about numbers.
Believable title reigns.
She only cares
means
about numbers.
nothing.
She
Yeah,
does-
it's just about the numbers.
Yeah. I still think I don't think she's gonna win though. But anyway,
Oh, they just released new Marvel Avengers gameplay. Let's go. I gotta watch that after this is done.
let's go with the Tommaso Ciampa and Karrion Kross match. I completely forgot about that one. That one slipped me. What are your thoughts, Jay?
It's gonna be a banger. I'll tell you that much. It's gonna be a banger, but Cross kind of has to win this.
Yeah.
It's his first big match, and what do we need Tommaso to do at this point? Like Tommaso is literally Austin right before he left WWE. Like he's there. It's great, yay, but you don't need him. Like at this point, he's kind of like the faded invisible face where like, all right, we need a feud for who Velveteen, like say Velveteen Dream wins. We need a feud for Velveteen Dream. Tommaso Ciampa built in. They already have the history. Book it, clean it, tie it up with a bow, keep pushing. Let Velveteen get the win off of Tommaso, even though he lost last time. Velveteen Dream gets the bookend win. Boom. That's all Tommaso's there for at this point. Because again, we don't know how long Tommaso's body has.
Right.
So, he's just there to put over talent. He's just there to put over talent.
For now.
I mean, I think he may have another title reign in him, but I think with the way it is now, because no one is traveling, I very much think Tommaso could make the move. He could be a part of that move too. Because again, he said he didn't want to go to NXT because, he didn't want to leave NXT because, again, they have a legacy, blah, blah, but then he also didn't want to travel. He didn't want to travel. If they're not traveling, what's the excuse?
Yeah, but you gotta remember, though, it's not gonna be forever, though.
It's not going to be forever, but neither is his career.
That is true as well. When does his contract end? That's a good question.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Again, Vince already said, like, WWE's already come out and said that they're going to cut down significantly on house shows. So they're not going to be working as much when everything starts back up.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Exactly.
Granted, but think about it this way. You have AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental title. Imagine for a hot second, guys, Tommaso shows up and challenges for the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. Imagine how big that match is.
Between the three of them? Shit.
No, I'm just saying, whoever wins. Same thing with Johnny. That's the same way I feel about Johnny. I just feel like Johnny and Candice's feud with Keith Lee and Mia Yim is so good at this point that I don't know if H can just scrap it and send one of them to the main roster right now, which is why I'm not talking about Johnny getting moved. Tommaso's not doing anything. He's chilling right now. Like, literally, the way this match came about, he just came out with, like, listen, you want to establish yourself, you want to do X, Y, and Z, you got to beat me. And that match happened. What else is Tommaso good for? Like, move him along. He can come back. Finn Balor proved that. You can come back. Hey, Drake Maverick proved it. You can come back. We just need to figure out a way to get him back at NXT. He's like, all right, now that everybody started traveling, I'm back home. I'm chilling. Boom. You think people are really going to question Tommaso Ciampa moving back after being in the main roster for a little bit? No. No one's going to question that.
What are your thoughts, Benny?
This right here is the only banger. This is the only one I could like really bang the table and say this is the one that I am 100% confident in. Cross is taking this match. My question is, how long is this match going to go? Because actually two questions. One, how long is this match going to go? Because every single one of Cross's matches so far have been squash matches. Do you think that they're actually going to squash Ciampa too, or are they going to have them, like a long decent match or something like that? Or are you going to give this man some time off afterwards? The other question, and probably the more important one, is, and I need to lean forward for this one, how long before Vince notices Scarlett and calls Cross up to the main roster?
This was already put into motion long before Cross showed up for NXT, because Cross was one of those guys that they were considering debuting straight to the main roster. So, I mean, Cross definitely can get 1 or 2 wins and be gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How long before he just gets fed up with it and it's just like, screw it, you're coming?
No, I think Triple H is just like, okay, he needs to get acclimated to the way that we wrestle in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
But I 100%, that's why I'm not putting Cross in any future plans, because I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's going to be in NXT that long. I don't think he factors into the long-term plans whatsoever.
I just hope he doesn't go the route of EC.
I mean, again, because of the way his character is, I don't think it'll be an EC3 situation. But again, it's very possible. It just depends on, because again, Vince can't use the excuse that you're not getting over. He can't use that excuse, so he can do whatever he wants with him. Right? So he can do a couple of matches on NXT, bring the crowd in slowly, have Cross debut as this like monster heel, which is what it seems like he is, and move forward that way, because you don't have to worry about the crowd at this point. You don't have to worry about the crowd probably until sometime next year.
Most likely, yeah, you're right.
Like, the crowd is not really going to be a factor. Like, you're going to slowly let people trickle in, but if 25% of the crowd doesn't react, you can still have the NXT superstars out there and they'll react for you. It's not until we get to 50 to 75% capacity that you actually have to give a crap about the crowd. Because, I mean, let's keep it a buck. WWE shows have been at 65% capacity for the last, 5 years anyway. They've been pumping noise anyway, just pumping more noise. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Or you could just edit it on the network like they do for Roman Reigns.
That's it.
Shout out to Roman Reigns, by the way. Thank you for, actually taking care of yourself and your family.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, big ups for that, bro. Because Miz out here trying to get people sick, all this other nonsense. Like,
asshole.
You
going to sit up here and bring him up? Really? After I had already marked him for death at the beginning?
Man, that blew mine. Like, you knew full well that you shouldn't have showed up, and now you're gonna sit up there and wrestle a match with Roman and not tell nobody. Like, that's low, bro. Like, that's just low. That's not. Yeah, like, not digging that at all.
All right,
all you got.
It's all agreement. It's easy one. It's Killer Cross. Killian Cross, sorry.
Killian, I'm about to say, we don't use those words out here, guys.
I'm sorry.
We don't use those violent words.
That's Killian Cross.
It's actually Karrion Cross. We had to change it to make
Cross.
Sure. Yes.
That.
Karrion Cross. But yeah, Tommaso doesn't need to He could take the L. He's another one that's has a name built in the brand. He could take the L. He could up a carrion, and push him up. But again, it's a matter of time before Vince actually calls him up and sees his body of work, and Scarlett, and be like, I need you both up now. You know how he is with
with his blondes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's.
I can't front. She's one of the tabs open on my Google right now.
I'll put it this way. Hopefully, she's a better in-ring performer than Lacey Evans was when she first came up. Now, Lacey Evans is decent, but I mean, again, she's not someone I still gotta wait a couple of months before I can sit down and watch her again, because
here's the
thing with Becky Lynch just.
Scarlett has some experience,
right,
more than what Lacey had, so I give her a little more credit. Lacey just came in, and unfortunately Vince looked at her and saw something, and instead of being patient and having her, finish getting the green off of her and be more little worked out and get more experience down in NXT, he called her up too early.
And same mistake he made with Apollo.
Yeah, that was dumb. That was dumb. Apollo, I saw Apollo. I was like, I like him. They gotta build him. They were building on NXT slowly but surely. But I think what happened was
he had to find his character, and that's the problem he's still having. He doesn't have a gimmick.
But here's the problem. I think what happens is Vince wants a wrestler at NXT, and Triple H says no, take somebody else. Let's say he's trying to call Shayna Baszler, and Vince and Triple H is like, no, you can't take her right now. So Vince says, I need a woman, I need a female, so give me somebody. And he'll just like, fine, I'll just take Lacey, even though she's not ready.
Right.
He has to.
That makes sense.
That's kind of how that mess ended up happening, because if you remember, she was a part of that 6-person call-up. Mm-hmm. Where you had, I think it wasn't a War Raiders part of that.
Yeah,
the War Raiders, Heavy Machinery came up at the same time. I think Eric Young came up with them.
Tommaso and Johnny was supposed to go up, but they got called back down.
That was part of the one after that, though.
Yeah, that was
the one where they. I'm like, this is so stupid. I'm sorry, it wasn't the War Raiders, because the War Raiders were still down there. I forgot who else came up, but I know Heavy Machinery was a part of it. Lacey Evans was a part of it as well, but it ended up being this whole crazy thing, because they called all of these people up with absolutely no plan whatsoever. That's right. Lars Sullivan was part of that call
up. No, they actually they were building him. They were
building them because they were trying to have him debut at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But then he had that panic attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyway,
I wonder
like I said, hopefully they.
Well, he's trying to lay low. He's got that knee injury, but he's trying to lay low because of all the shit that came out. And you can't have him come out now, especially because everybody's going to remember it. They'll eat him alive. What's going on right now, and what shit that happened with him before, the tweets and all that stuff, they'll eat him alive. Even though there's no crowd, even though there is no crowd, the people will eat him alive in the chats. And I don't
just look at what Jackson Riker has gotten himself into with 2 or 3 tweets. So one of them that came from like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah,
clown. That's all I'm gonna say,
bro.
I'm not even gonna mention his name. Like he's not worth mentioning his name. He's a clown.
Bro, and then he turned his stuff to private.
Yep,
to private.
He's a clown. He's not even worth the air you breathe at this point. He's a clown.
Yeah.
Your man can't wrestle. He's literally just like you. You stuffed a bunch of balloons into a person, and that's
he's a muscle.
Riker. Like
he's
a clown.
He's a muscle. That's all he is.
That's the part that doesn't make any sense to me. Though. How are you the muscle, but you're still the face of the team? Dumb.
Because the rest of them are forgotten.
They need to drop this dude. Like Forgotten Sons can be a 2-man team, or you can get an underappreciated wrestler and turn him heel. It's not hard. It's really not hard.
They need a voice. They need a voice.
They can.
Yeah, Baron Corbin to the group.
We right here. We right here.
Vortex. Baron Corbin, vortex of evil. Mid card of evil.
Listen,
oh man.
At least at that point, he'd be elevating people.
Yeah.
Look, man. Not for nothing. Baron Corbin is so underappreciated. So underappreciated.
He is.
But it's just like
I'm not even
But here's the thing, though.
I got no knock for him. It's just the fact that when he has a stable, he's the most frustrating human on the face of the planet because the stable should be getting over, but the people that they put him with are on his level or above. Yeah, they're on his level or above. If you give him people who are actually lackeys, it would work.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give him Bobby Lashley and Rusev. Like what?
Here's the thing, and I don't want to get too far off with this, but yo, this is a testament to exactly how good Baron Corbin is as a heel. You remember I picked him to win Money in the Bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy is climbing up the ladder. Oscar's on the other side, and I'm thinking, oh my God, Baron Corbin's about to win Money in the Bank. And I'm like, wait, I picked this guy, and I don't want him to win.
That's a whole other conversation.
This dude is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing with that right now, but
I think the problem was they overfed Baron Corbin in that Seth Rollins feud, and that's what
it was.
That's what got a lot of people because he's really good, but they just overdid it.
Not to mention the King gimmick. Like, are we getting the King of the Ring this year?
I doubt it. I think they did it just to do something else with him.
Yeah.
Even then, like I said, you can't even just put it all on the Seth Rollins thing because it was also before that Constable Corbin, where he was out there in the main event every single night.
Yeah.
And it's
the whole thing is they need to do another King of the Ring, I think, because you got to take that King moniker off of him because he's not even like the King thing doesn't work anymore. Like it was cool for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work anymore. Perfect time to, again, replace Jackson Riker because he's got to go away for a while.
Well, the King of the Ring is a nice way to kind of give somebody a different gimmick and rebuild somebody else. Like right now, like say
that's the thing. You don't even need the King gimmick. Like that King gimmick came around later on. Like you can just have the title of King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm. I'm so ready for them to actually have the King of the Ring mean something. Just like the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, just like the Women's Battle Royal. You do these things just for, okay, well, they won. Right? Now we're going to give you one King of the Ring, so you're going to be relegated to this stupid King gimmick for the next year until we run the King of the Ring tournament again. Don't do that. King of the Ring is a perfect setup to say, okay, you won King of the Ring. This tournament is in June. You now have a guaranteed championship match at SummerSlam.
At least for the international, the IC or the United States title. At least
depending on who wins it, something like that.
You can do that because the way is you have a Royal Rumble. The winner of the Royal Rumble challenges whatever title they want. So what you do with the King of the Ring is the winner of the King of the Ring challenges whichever mid-card title they want.
Because I like it because again, it gives the King of the Ring relevance, but it doesn't give it as much relevance as Money in the Bank or Royal Rumble.
Right.
Like it gives it just enough.
Yeah.
It gives it just enough. And then at that point, then you can look at him like you can challenge for the NXT UK title. You can challenge for the the North American title, the IC title. That's the US title. There's 4 titles you can challenge for.
Right. And the thing is you can use guys that are mid-carders or just below it that aren't doing anything to get them some shine going on.
Or here's another thing. Granted, it doesn't fall in line with what y'all were just saying, but just say you get somebody who's one of these little bullshit heels running around. Say you get a Baron Corbin, all right? Wins Money in the Bank. All right? At that time, he decides to insert himself into the King of the Ring tournament. Messes around and wins the King of the Ring tournament and loses his championship match. So pissed off after the match, he jumps up out of the ring, grabs his briefcase, and beats the shit out of the champion and cashes in.
It definitely does. It creates the possibility for a lot of different storyline and a very different style of storytelling. And it allows heels to be heels. But then it also allows your uber baby faces to be uber baby faces.
Yes. Could you imagine Chad Gable as the King of the Ring.
Yeah. Just don't do the stupid. Just don't do the stupid.
Don't do the gimmick.
Yeah, no. So
don't do the King gimmick. You have another Kurt Angle right there. But anyway, like I said, let's listen. We didn't go off the rails.
Steve Austin, because people forget when Steve Austin and Triple H were on the come up, they won King of the Ring, and that was a part of their build.
Well, the only reason Steve Austin won it was because Triple H was getting punished because of what happened with the curtain call.
Yep.
Right.
So don't forget that's the only reason he won it, because Triple H was supposed to win it the whole time. He was actually supposed to get a push that year, but because of the curtain call, it just went to crap. He took the brunt of it because they couldn't punish Shawn Michaels.
Right.
Yep.
They weren't going to punish the company.
This is a conversation for another time, but just imagine the amount of shit that went down that time that caused kayfabe to break down. What would happen if it didn't happen? Because you got two situations where, say the curtain call doesn't go down, and say, like, you have this situation where The Undertaker was saying, insert me into the Survivor Series match between Shawn and Brett, and I'll take the title from Brett since Brett doesn't want to drop it to Shawn, and then I'll just drop it to Shawn, on Raw or something.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that basically caused the Attitude Era. When the hell, like, how does wrestling look now if that mess doesn't happen?
We could start a show off of that as it is.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's a conversation for another time. But my God,
yeah. So let's go off to the final match of the night, the one that has a lot of eyes on it for many various different reasons. The reason being because of the fact that Adam Cole's contract is set to expire in 2 months. He hasn't renewed. There's already rumors circulating that he might let it expire because of the fact that he may jump over to be with his girlfriend and the Elite, which he was a part of. He's friends with all of them. I've heard that, what's her name, Britt Baker said that it would be nice if he joined everybody because they know everybody. It's like a big family. So it's like it would be nice to have the family reunited all over again.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. And then there's Velveteen Dream that has been rumored that may be a call-up. They're looking at calling him up somewhere around there with Velveteen Dream. So this match has a lot of eyes on it because if Cole wins, are they going to call Velveteen Dream up or not? If Velveteen Dream wins, does that mean that they wanted to bug off of Cole just so he's not carrying it for the next 2 months? That's 2 months before his contract expires. There's a lot riding on this match and how it's gonna end. The way I look at it is, I hate for Adam Cole to leave NXT. I hate Adam Cole to leave WWE as it is. But my concern with him is I don't want him to go to the main roster because they won't know how to write him. So I believe that Cole will win the title and retain it, and they're gonna try and re-sign him. If not, then he's losing that belt on TV. But here's the thing we have to look at too. There are a lot of rumors saying that when WWE is renegotiating contracts now, they're not offering as much money as they were before.
They're not.
The money's not there right now, and that's only being done with people whose contracts are expiring. From what I heard is they would like to renegotiate contracts, but they're not going to do that because if they renegotiate a contract, then at that point they're voiding that contract. So that lets that person leave if they want to, with no what's that called?
Non-compete clause.
What's that?
Non-compete clause.
Exactly. That goes out the window because they voided the contract with WWE if they try to renegotiate it. So whoever has a high-end contract, they're going to let it ride out as it is. So that's interesting. But I see Adam Cole retaining the way I look at it. What are your thoughts, Jay?
I vehemently disagree. I think with everything, the way everything's played out, I think it's very much a situation where it's about time to have a new champion. And at this point, if Adam Cole keeps the title, yeah, you could feed him to Finn Balor. Yeah, you could feed him to Tommaso Ciampa. But how much value does that have for Cole? You know, like it doesn't do anything for Adam Cole. And I think if Adam Cole wants to leave, he's going to leave regardless. So would you want him to leave as a champion? Or would you want him to drop it and give the rub to the guy that you're basically have been saying for years you're going to build the company around coming up? And then with that, with the way the title landscape is on the main roster, yeah, they don't really know how to write for Cole. But my question is ultimately going to be, are they going to call up UE or are they going to call up Cole?
So here's the thing I heard is with Cole, the way they're trying to talk to him is that if they call him up, there's that call up money, the main roster money is there.
Right.
So he might not just be negotiating for himself. He might be negotiating for UE as a whole.
Right.
So that's another question. Even if let's put it, UE goes right for UE. We've seen how they've done the factions lately the last couple of years.
Right.
Don't have a good track record.
They don't. And you bring up a very good point. But it's one of those things where at some point you have to roll the dice. And the issue is that even if Adam Cole goes up to the main roster, he still has all the power. You get what I'm saying? Because if he stays, he still cripples the main division, like the title picture for WWE. Because now he's had it for over a year. And now it's like, okay, well, you've done with Adam Cole everything really you could do. Unless you're going to put the title on an older talent. And then that kind of defeats the purpose of NXT anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Balor getting the title again, what does that do? Nothing. Tommaso getting the title again, what does that do? Nothing.
Johnny.
It does. Johnny getting the title again. Woohoo! He's already had the title.
Mm-hmm.
It does nothing. Dream having the title has been so, like, it's one of those things where it's always like, you can look at him and be like, he's right there. He's right there. He hasn't quite gotten there yet. He's right there. Like, this is the feud where you put Dream over. Because Dream has always been, like, you built him the right way. If you don't pull this trigger now, you got what? You're going to have to wait 2 years to do it. Because it's not going to mean anything. It's going to be irrelevant. He wins it on TV, so what? You lost the big one. It's like beating a team in a regular season and you can't beat them in the playoffs. That's what Dream looks like. Dream looks like Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard. Like Dream looks like James Harden. Dream really looks like James Harden right now. Like, it doesn't. And then again, on top of everything, you have to look at what's coming down the pipeline. Dream and Balor, it's a fresh feud. Dream and Tommaso, it's a grudge match. Keith Lee and Dream, two black brothers going for your main title. After Jericho said what he said on Twitter, bro, it books itself. It books itself. Johnny and Dream, the grudge match. There's way more money in Dream being the champion than Cole. Now think about this too. The way Adam Cole debuted on NXT, they can just rinse, wash, repeat. Because you got Drew McIntyre as the WWE champion, if you want to move him to Raw. You have Apollo Crews as the US champion. Please. How long? Let's keep it a buck. I love Apollo, and Apollo's great. He's building himself. But how long is that going to last?
They're turning him heel.
Yeah, they're turning him heel, right?
Mm.
So now you have, on Raw, you have Seth Rollins and his boys. You have Selena Vega and her guys. You have pre-made mid-card kind of situations already sitting there for Adam Cole to jump into. Like, you have Adam Cole, Seth Rollins. You have Adam Cole, Drew McIntyre. You have Adam Cole, Apollo Crews. You have Adam Cole, Andrade. But let's say we don't go there, right? We're about to crown a new Intercontinental Champion. The New Day, what? Are the tag team champions? Come on now. Come on now. It's in the next 2 months. Now you have hype for SmackDown, which is what Fox wants, and Lord knows is what they need. Adam Cole and UE brings that star power. And you can bring them up without Roderick Strong if you want to. If you choose to bring Roderick Strong with you, then I'm sure there are plenty of feuds you can have him have. First one that comes to mind is AJ Styles if he loses to Daniel Bryan. First one that comes to mind if Daniel Bryan loses is Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak to go off against what's I was just talking about him. I forgot his name. Roderick Strong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too ready-made right now for me to sit up there and validate Adam Cole retaining his title. It doesn't make sense. I get it's Vince, but at some point as a businessman, you have to understand the assets that you have, and you have to understand when to pull the trigger on the right assets. Vince McMahon is old, but he's not stupid. He's out of touch, but he's not stupid. There's no way for me you're going to make two stupid mistakes like that in one night. It's not fathomable for me. But then again, it's Vince McMahon, so I'm not getting my hopes up. But I do 100% think it's going to be Dream. And I'm sorry I had to pound the table for Dream just now because it's like, when is it enough? When is it enough? Come on now. Not to mention, it puts NXT in a glorious light. You got two black champions. I don't even remember who has the NXT tag titles right now. I really couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
Imperium.
Yeah, and then they disappeared. So,
well, just travel.
Bro, it seems like those were the only two guys in the U.S. Like, they didn't go back to the UK.
No, listen, there's no tag teams really. The only other tag team for the most part, you got Lorcan and Birch, but where are they? And Forgotten Sons are up. UE, there's no point in them going for the tag titles again. They've already had them 274 times.
That only adds to my point.
And now, because Riddle's gone, that's just
yeah. So, I mean, that tag team division is gone. It just disappeared. I mean, that's what happens when you call up so many teams so prematurely. There was another one with what's it called with what's his name? I can't remember his name now anymore. There was another team that they completely disassembled it because they called one of the guys up and another one got released. Like, there is no tag teams in NXT right now, if I remember correctly.
No. And again, Triple H has to now rebuild that. And again, what is he gonna? He's gonna have just UE and Imperium go at it again without Walter. It doesn't make sense.
No,
that's what I'm saying. So like
Benny said, you said UE's had to tag team titles how many times?
Yeah,
it's you can't. No matter how you switch it, it doesn't matter if it's Adam Cole and Fish or who.
Yeah,
you can't do it. You can't. It's a right thing.
Again, now it makes more sense because now for the first time, New Day's vulnerable. New Day's very vulnerable because they don't have their third man. Now it's 4-on-2.
Although he is running.
What's that?
What, Woods?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, no. I heard that story. He's running now. Like he's on his way back. I just don't think he'll be back. But again, imagine now you have a pop for Xavier Woods when he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, Jimmy's not coming back no time soon, but Jay's still there.
Be out for a minute.
So it's like, do you push Jay as a single superstar? If that's the case, now you have somebody to work with him in Roderick Strong. It just makes too much sense for Cole to lose. Because again, now he has probably the second longest reign? Second or third. I know it's top 5. Right up there with Finn. Probably Finn and Joe are probably the only two guys that are up there with him.
Yeah, it's time for UE to go up. I mean,
and I understand your concern. Like, your concerns are extremely valid because they don't know how to write for them. But at the same time, it's like what is Triple H? What else can Triple H do? There's nothing else for him to do. He can't do anything else with Adam Cole. And it's like, at some point, I'm sure Adam Cole doesn't even want to stay in NXT anymore because he's bored. That's why he's thinking about going to AEW.
And UE already had their title run with all the belts.
Yeah, they had the prophecy is done. everything that you said you were going to do with these guys, you've done. You've done everything. And again, the Intercontinental title needs new blood. We have two old fogey. It's like you have Master Roshi and freaking TN fighting over the freaking Intercontinental title right now. Like, I need somebody else. I need fresh blood. Like, the Intercontinental title needs fresh blood. You can't bring Miz back. What are you going to put it on? John Morrison? And think about it. Now you got Miz and Morrison. That's another team for UE who we've never seen in that light. You know, we already know what they do with Street Profits and War Raiders. That's why it doesn't make sense for me for them to go to Raw. Outside of the whole Drew McIntyre factor.
I'd rather have...
And again, and then think about it this way. Because Braun Strowman is the champion, you're going to need that pack mentality. And to me, what better way to have UE debut and to have Adam Cole really be a threat than to have them eventually, maybe not off the offset. I think definitely Adam Cole or Roderick Strong should win the Intercontinental title first, just to give them like a, because of the guys that are in the title picture right now. But Adam Cole, Universal Champion, I mean, it adds a certain level of legitimacy to that title that title just does not have. That title is still fighting for legitimacy. And what better way to be like, hey, listen, you re-sign with us, and I understand you want to go, but we'll put the Universal title on you and we'll build SmackDown around you guys. The same way you did NXT. And at this point, SmackDown is so barren. Who are they burying that they haven't already buried? There's no life in SmackDown right now.
Yeah. And here's
UE immediately adds that oomph to SmackDown where it's like, okay, now I want to watch SmackDown because now it's interesting because every division is affected by UE.
And here's
outside of the women's division.
If Cole comes in and they write a storyline where he ends up being the Universal Champion, then you can have a believable match with him and Reigns.
Yeah. When Reigns eventually comes back next year.
Exactly. Yeah, when he comes back. And that'll be a feud I'd like to watch. And the thing, too, is like, I just heights. The heights aren't that much of a difference. It's 3 inches. Cole's at 6 feet. Reigns is 6'3". So it's not like you're going to have like a crazy amount of difference in height.
Yeah.
If it was Adam Cole and Braun Strowman, it's like, you're like, oh, no, it's not.
So if you have UE and you have that wolf pack, they're already known for that pack mentality.
Exactly.
And if you establish that in other divisions, you already know what's up. You know what's up.
Yeah.
And I mean, right now, you got Braun Strowman messing with the Miz and Morrison, throwing paint on people, him flipping. That's the best you can do right now?
Yeah.
That is the best you have. That is all you have right now.
They don't
That's
know.
it.
They don't know.
You need a little, and I'm not gonna lie, you need some attitude era on SmackDown because SmackDown right now is looking like WCW. You need a little bit of Monday Night Wars, and UE brings that in spades. Not to mention, look at Adam Cole's finisher. Adam Cole's finisher is not a move that it's not believable to knock out Braun Strowman. That running knee, you catch Braun Strowman at the right angle, it makes sense. And then again, to imagine for a second the Fiend versus Adam Cole with how good of a performer Adam Cole is. And again, everyone's still wondering where Sister Abigail is. The Wyatt family isn't there, but that does not mean the Fiend can't at any given time start a faction and seriously screw with everyone. And then just to add a little extra to that, Marina Shafir could definitely debut with Adam with UE, and that gives the women's division another look, and it gives UE a different look if they add women to it, because they very well could. Heck, Sasha Banks could join UE, and it would make them way more interesting because UE fits Sasha Banks' character. Bayley can join UE, fits her character perfectly. You gain so much with moving UE to SmackDown, and you lose nothing dropping the title to Velveteen Dream. You lose nothing. This move just makes too much sense to me. And for example, if you move Velveteen Dream up to SmackDown, what do you do? What are you doing? How are you going to debut him? Who's he going to face? Exactly.
There's only one person on SmackDown I want to see Dream going up against, and there's somebody he's already facing as Matt Riddle. Just because that match was amazing. That's it.
Not to mention Matt Riddle and Adam Cole never had their match. They never had their big match. Those two feuding for the Intercontinental title, those two feuding for the Universal title, that's money. That is money. And then there's always the rain sitting in the wind. Adam Cole has the right type of personality to deal with the fact that Otis, that goofy babyface, has the money in the bank. He has the mic skills to elevate Mandy, even though Mandy doesn't have mic skills like that. There's always the Dolph Ziggler, Sonya Deville thing. Like, UE just makes too much sense because they literally can come in, run roughshod, and no one's going to care because everyone's just excited that it's UE. And SmackDown needs that.
Yeah. Benny, what are your thoughts?
I'm sorry, I'm done. Right. I didn't realize how long I went on.
All right. This right here, like I said, this match, unfortunately, has so many different branches that could come off of it. It's crazy that the main event is actually, it seems like the main event could affect everything that happens in the undercard on this. Mm-hmm. Jay brings up a really good point. Now, mind you, I am, from a logic standpoint, undecided as hell on this. Just because I'm sitting up here and I'm looking at the situation and I'm trying to figure out how it is WWE would handle it versus how I would. And I'm thinking to myself that because you have rumors about two different things going on right now. One is that Adam Cole is coming, his contract is coming up, getting ready to expire. The other one, there's a conflicting report that I can't remember who said it, but one of these beat writers came out and said Adam Cole signed a 3-year extension last year. So I'm like, which one of them is true? And if you want to hang on to somebody like Adam Cole, like I am damn sure Triple H does, what's the logical thing to do if it is that his contract is expiring? You offer him something new with more money. My heart is telling me, because of the fact that I want Velveteen Dream to be the champion at some point, I'm taking Velveteen Dream. But here's where we're going to go from here. SmackDown. Not to reiterate every single thing Jay just said, but I want Adam Cole and I want UE to show up on SmackDown for 3 reasons. First and foremost, because I want Adam Cole nowhere near Brock Lesnar. Granted, Brock works well with smaller guys, but that is an instant loss for Adam Cole, and I don't want that. Whenever that would end up happening, I want the two of them as far apart from each other as possible. The second thing, because of the injuries to Jimmy, or I think it was Jimmy Uso.
Yeah.
Jimmy Uso, the situation with Jackson Riker, we have no idea if that's going to cause the Forgotten Sons any type of heat. I know he has heat, but is that going to cause them to suffer as well? You have one other tag team, because Heavy Machinery right now isn't a thing. It's just Otis. You have one other tag team on the SmackDown roster. That's the New Day. You need somebody. You need some fresh blood to deal with them. All right. You got Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly like right there, in which, I'm sorry, Kyle O'Reilly is the best wrestler I've ever seen. All right. That man deserves every belt ever.
That's a joke, man. I like him.
Well, on top of that, like I said, you have all of the possibilities when it comes to Adam Cole that you can do. The thing about Undisputed Era and Adam Cole moving to SmackDown is my fear is them taking Cole and pushing Cole to the to SmackDown by himself, or pushing him to Raw by himself. Not to say that he can't get over, but Adam Cole has already been introduced to your main roster audience as the leader of Undisputed Era. Without UE, Adam Cole is like, now you bring him up to these casuals that are just watching. They're like, all right, well, who's this guy? Where are the rest of his cronies that were that came up here with him before? Mm-hmm. Like, you limit yourself if you're just bringing Cole. You have to bring the rest of UE with him, because that's going to inject so much life into your storytelling, into the like I said, you got all of these different branches that you could go off with that side, everything, all of the different feuds that you can put on with that, and then you take it towards, like, say, your Survivor Series situation, right? Well, how's it going to look when you have, your Survivor Series team ends up being the New Day, Big E and Kofi Kingston, and then the other three members of UE? How are they going to coexist? Because they've been feuding over the tag titles for the last 4 months. Now you can sit up here, and if you're still doing your brand warfare thing like they're going to do, because that makes zero sense. But you got all of these different options that you can do, and you got the perfect person to build with it. In Adam Cole, you have a more athletic Shawn Michaels. That man could literally lead that entire show for the next 4 or 5 years if he wanted to, or if they want him to. Now, granted, like I said, if he was to go over to the Raw side, I would love to see him and Rollins go at it. But there's more on SmackDown for him, in my view, than there would be on Raw. The only issue that I have with this is the fact that there's also rumors about Dream going up to the main roster. So like I said, that part right there is conflicting to me. It's the idea of, if Velveteen Dream wins the championship, are they really going to go do Keith Lee versus Velveteen Dream? Because, the two of them are, they're both faces and all of this other stuff. Now, granted, like, Velveteen Dream can float back and forth because of how he acts. But it's like, you got that idea where it's just like, we don't want to do face versus face. But honestly, I've seen time and time again that shit doesn't matter, yo. So, like I said, I'm gonna go with Hart. I'm gonna say Velveteen Dream. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Cole won, but honestly, he has had this belt since TakeOver 25. It's time for some new blood.
There's also the small thing that we need to consider, is that AJ Styles was traded from SmackDown for future considerations. A very vague statement that could literally just mean, you guys got AJ Styles. Maybe that's what happens on what is it, Raw? Right? He's back on SmackDown, right?
Yeah.
That could play into it too.
I would legitimately hate that.
Here's
I would legitimately hate it.
I thought I thought about it, I thought it was the reverse, where AJ Styles was on Raw and was on SmackDown, got sent to Raw, and then SmackDown would have the consideration. But now that I think about it, I'm like, ugh.
No, he's on SmackDown.
I would hate that. I would hate that either way, just because of the fact that what you're basically telling people, if they zero in and look and see exactly what that means, is that AJ Styles is worth all 4 members of Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
And hell no. It's just.
So here's one thing you have to look at too. That I'm looking at. So this match is already pre-recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. So
shit. This is the parking lot match.
Yeah. The stipulation of this match is, if Dream loses, he can no longer challenge for the title while Cole is champion.
Mm-hmm.
So even if Velveteen Dream loses, he could still challenge the belt again later on. He can't challenge it while Cole is champion. Just wanted to put that out there.
I mean,
Yeah,
for me, it's like, who does Cole lose it to? Like, it's the same issue with Charlotte for me. It's like, well, then who does he lose it to?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Though. Here's the thing. If you have UE, right? Where do you bring them up? Like, where do you introduce them? Let's say Velveteen Dream does win the title tomorrow night, right? Let's say he wins tomorrow night, and you're gonna call up UE eventually. When do you call him up? Do you want to call him on a regular TV Raw or SmackDown show, or do you want to call him up on SummerSlam, a pay-per-view event, where it's you're like, holy cow, like, damn.
We should have a pay-per-view between the next one, which I believe
the next one is
the next
Backlash.
pay-per-view.
No, the next one is Backlash.
No, is it? I thought it was SummerSlam.
No, there's Backlash.
Advertising Backlash, and Backlash is in like the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that's okay. That's the tweener one. That's in July. No, that's June.
I mean, this should have been King of the Ring, but that's just
it's June 14th. Backlash is June 14th. I'm just looking up now.
Right. So it's already June 7th. So they would only not be around for a week.
Not even. You don't even have to be. If Velveteen Dream wins tomorrow, they're done off TV. They don't have to be on no more.
Yeah.
Hold up. There's another one. You could technically take UE off of TV altogether. Like if you have Cole drop the title or whatever, UE disappears. Or if you want to go the rematch route where they get their send off or whatever, you can do that too. Extreme Rules is still in July.
Yeah, that's right.
So you have 2 more pay-per-views.
You got 2 more before SummerSlam.
Yeah, so you can eventually have UE come up this month in Backlash or next month on Extreme Rules. You don't have to wait till SummerSlam.
Yeah.
The thing is too is you want it on one of these pay-per-views because they're not the big one, so you want a shock and awe. You know, you want a shock and awe. You want stuff
I see the logic. I see where you're going with it. My whole thing is you're struggling with ratings on regular TV anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, you have the benefit of, well, there are wrestlers in the crowd anyway. Use that. You know?
Well, I mean, if we look at it this way, you can have them interfere in a match at a pay-per-view and start it 2-3 feuds maybe. I
mean, truth be told, isn't the when is the freaking the Intercontinental title match?
I believe this coming Friday. Which makes 0 sense because why would you not put Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles on the pay-per-view?
On Backlash. Makes no sense.
I believe it's Friday because that's what I was hearing. I don't know. Maybe they decided to change it. I haven't the slightest idea.
I don't know. Because I don't know what the Backlash card is. Because I think it's Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. That's the one I remember.
And then Strowman versus the 2 dickheads.
Greatest match ever, Edge versus Randy Orton.
Yeah, Edge versus Randy Orton. And then you have Strowman versus who? In the handicap match?
Hold on. So far what I have here is Edge versus Randy, McIntyre versus Bobby, Strowman versus The Miz and Morrison, Asuka versus Nia Jax, and Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. Those are the 5 matches so far I'm seeing.
So theoretically, there's about, I'd say 2 matches. If the tag titles get put on 3 matches, you can have them interfering right there.
Yep.
So, I mean, again, Backlash is set up where they're doing less matches, but they're going to do more stuff because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it shorter. So I think the impact of it, because right now there is no high-end pay-per-view, low-end pay-per-view because there's no crowd. That's the thing. The biggest factor in all of this was the fact that there's no crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So so it's like you can have it happen at Backlash. It's still significant because now it makes your Backlash significant.
That's what I'm saying.
It makes your Extreme Rules significant.
That's what I'm saying.
It makes your SummerSlam even more significant.
Then
again, Strowman doesn't need. I'm sorry to say, yes, Strowman's title's overdue, but again, it's 2 years too late. So I don't care if he loses the title at SummerSlam.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you have them appear on Backlash or Extreme Rules, you bring that shock and awe, so you make people want to watch. Like, wait, what? You did it on the low end pay per view? Dang it! Does this mean I have to watch all the pay per views now and see what happens? Yes. This is what I have to want you to do. You have to watch every pay per view because you don't know what's going to happen. But this is why the smaller pay per views need to have things happen. I get it. You have the big pay per views, the big four: WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble. But you need certain things to happen on the smaller pay per views in order to get those watches. If you're gonna have where the champion always retains, nobody's gonna want to watch it because he's gonna win no matter what. Like,
that's also how I feel about the NXT takeovers. It's like the takeovers are always so big because it means so much. The last couple haven't meant anything. Like, this one has to mean something. So for the two of the top division people to retain their titles doesn't mean anything. It's stupid.
Bruh, you guys are sitting here talking, and I'm listening to you, but at the same time, I literally just booked Undisputed Era's debut. Oh my god!
I just don't call you at this point.
Only Benny.
My god!
Only Benny would do that.
I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you guys and how you're talking and everything, and how, just for argument's sake, all right, the New Day doesn't have a match, right?
Nope.
They don't have a match or whatever. So they could have Kayla or Charlie, one of the two of them, getting ready to, or I'm sorry, and Sarah, because I keep forgetting about her because I keep calling her not Renee Young. All right.
Oh, the other blonde. Yeah.
Yeah. They could have one of them, attempting to interview the New Day or whatever, and they're waiting like the meeting time or something like that. And I'm like, well, we're supposed to be having this interview. The New Day's not showing up or whatever. And then camera crew cut to the New Day locker room. Both of them are laid out. Daniel Bryan, let's just say they put the Intercontinental Championship match on Backlash. Daniel Bryan wins the championship. Yay, Daniel Bryan's the Intercontinental Champion now. He goes to the back. We're getting ready to have an interview with Daniel Bryan. He just won the championship. Now you're hearing all of this, this craziness going on. What's happening? Camera crew starts running. All you see is Daniel Bryan get thrown from out of somewhere, rolling down on the ground. He's laid out, but no one knows who the culprit is. Braun Strowman defeats Miz and Morrison, power slams them 47 times for, how angry I am at them dumping paint on Kayla. But before he gets up, all you see, last shot right to the back of his head. Undisputed Era has been wrecking havoc throughout the whole night, and every feud is already set. Your tag team champions are targeted. Your new Intercontinental Champion is targeted. And Adam Cole and just let the biggest dog in the yard know you're a target as well.
It makes sense.
I like it, but the thing is, they still haven't finished off the Braun Strowman being storyline either.
That's
Braun
fine.
Strowman.
That's the thing, because at the same time, you still have Otis with the Money in the Bank lurking. Like, it's better to have people lurking than to have no one there.
Mm.
And I mean, if you're gonna attack the New Day, you might as well attack Miz and Morrison too. But they make it out to the ring, but Braun is just like, this isn't even any fun because they're both beat up. And then as soon as Braun wins, Adam Cole and Undisputed Era shows up at the top of the Titantron, and that's how the pay-per-view goes off.
Mm-hmm.
Or you just see them, the hood, you see them with the hoodies on, and they pull it back, and all you see is like all four of them come out and throw the UE sign up and call it a night. It ends right there
too. Yeah.
You end it right there.
Again, it just makes too. That's why I keep saying it makes too much sense for UE to, like, there's so much more to do with them, and you can't do it with them at NXT.
Yeah,
you can't.
No, they've done everything they could do in NXT. There's nothing else. There's no storylines left for them, unfortunately, and that's it's not a bad thing. It's just that the time is up. The time is up. The time is up. They got to go.
Really that simple.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us on this extended show, the 3 count. It's been a while. but there's a lot going on here with NXT and call-ups going on and contracts and scenarios of specific matches. What happens? Who wins? How does that play out? What feud can come out of it? What call-up can be made? As you just heard. Thank you for joining us. Till next time, Jaquan, Benny, myself. Take care.
And it looks like we're gonna be back right next week.
With Backlash.
Oh yeah.
Later, everybody.